Hey everybody, welcome back to Yokai Temple. So, I killed so many Endermen in the end. Turns out that actually, like, using my brand new, like, sword, the Cursed Absurd's Blade, actually not nearly as effective as just flying about using coil sets. Because coil sets kills a lot of them, and the end is Enderman exclusive, basically, here. So, I just flew around for a while, killing a whole ton of Endermen. Didn't really even have to aim at anything, that was good. And that got me about 11 Ender Shards. There's one more just over at the altar at the moment. And I'm still kind of low on Nether Shards, because there's a fair few things that spawn in the Nether now, so I can't do the same thing there. Maybe I'll find some kind of automated system. I'm not sure, just getting a whole ton of zombie pigmen and murdering them horrifically. But it's for a good cause. We don't need to worry about that. I have a very good, legitimate reason to be going through all of this. Yeah, so first on our list, I have one order of business over at the Britannia area, which still needs a building. So I may have to work on that. Like, we've got the cake erector there, the pagoda, but the actual, like, stuff outside of it that I use, not really, like, it needs an enclosure. It needs a proper enclosure. So, with the cake reactor working, I've got a ton of mana here, but it is very noisy. As you can tell, every time something goes in there, it gets ejected right down the line, which, it works, but these mana spreaders are kind of expensive, honestly, although I can just whack the Gaia Spirit every time I like, but, this is not the fastest of systems either. You have to wait every single time for this to, like, shoot and get the mana out and all that stuff, so it takes a while to come down, which results in my mana mirror here flickering like that, which is kind of annoying more than anything else. So I've been looking around, and there is a slightly better, at least, way of transporting mana, at least when you're doing it between pools. So, for that, we are going to need a fair few things, which I prepared dutifully in this chest. So we're going to need some mana petals, some blaze powder, and some gold nuggets. If these ingredients look at all familiar to you, you might have an idea of what it is I'm about to be doing. So, let's just hop back over here, because the actual, like, Britannia area doesn't have its own, like, crafting bench at all. So, nuggets in the middle, blaze powder down the sides, mana petals, and we get some sparks. So we've seen these before. We've used, like, 2 of them in total to date, and we're just going to put these over those mana pools. So, the ones we've got already are one over here, and there's another one over here by the terrestrial agglomeration plate. I know some people have trouble saying that, but that's fine. And basically, sparks allow mana to be teleported, sort of, or flowed, just, like, immediately between areas, without the use of a mana spreader. Originally, we could only just use them to access mana. We are going to be using a couple of new things here to actually send it to different locations. So, yeah, we've got all those mana pools now joined up. I've got spare spark. Yay, for me. Might come in handy at some point. So, now they all know about each other. So we just need to add a few more things. And this thing I'll actually just craft here. And see if I remember what the recipe is. This might actually just be craftable in my inventory. Yep, good. Okay, so Spark Augment Recessive. If we right-click a spark with this, it'll add on to it. You can only have the one augment, I believe, at a time. But this particular recessive augment will cause a spark mana pool to try and distribute all of its mana to nearby non-augmented sparks. So basically, what's happening here, we can just have the spark do it, and it works a lot faster. So we can kind of see it already going, and we see now that all of these have shut up, which is very nice. Who knows, maybe I'll even keep them here as like a backup supply. But, if I get rid of these now, then we should still see that mana is going to flow through here quite nicely. We can still hear it being ticked away over there, but the mana is just flowing so rapidly now, and there's barely even a whisper over here. But it's still triggering just a little bit, so we're going to be getting one more thing to deal with here. And we can even get rid of, like, the mana distributor here, because we don't actually need that at all. So let's just get rid of that. Good. Okay. So, now, we need a couple more. And the 2 more that we're going to need are Mana Steel Ingot pixie dust, and fire runes, and that gets us Spark Augment Dominant. Now these, like, if this one is the recessive, and it tries to disseminate its mana everywhere to all of these different, different spark pools, then this is the inversion. It tries to take all of the mana out of non-augmented pools. So if I put one here, and one here, then now the mana is getting pulled into these two pools, and there's not even the slightest concern for it. So let me see, how could I divulge this? How can I show this off? Well, the most obvious way is that I'm going to have to lose a ton of mana here, but that's fine because we've got tons over here. So if I pick this up, spark comes down, all that stuff is gone, and if I put the spark on it, we're already getting mana from over there. But if I put the dominant on it, a whole ton of mana comes over here, and that power is just going up crazy fast now. So this also means that I can just add another mana pool and another spark, and the whole system gets like a whole new pool, and that's it of mana storage. So that allows us to do a whole ton of really cool stuff, and my mana is recharged fully already. That is how fast these work compared to using the mana spreaders, which I can now put up into the reactor now, so yay. And we can see that this end pool is just still kind of trying to repower things here. All the mana that's getting is just being shoved directly into those pools as quick as it can. So everything is getting distributed quite lovely, very nicely, and I don't have to worry about distribution at all, because it's all going to go right where it needs to be, on the output sign. So this is just a huge battery, and it's fine. So this is great, because it allows me to actually build a structure around here and not have to worry too much about lines of sight or setting up, like, routes of travel so that stuff can, like, get from one place to another. I still have to deal with, in here, having the mana spreaders bring the mana down from the Kikimorus, simply because there's no way to get mana out of a plant except for a mana spreader, which is kind of a pain. I wish that I could use a spark for that, but if anyone has any ideas, for like how I can get the mana out faster, then let me know in the comments, because I'd be very interested in that, because this whole reactor's biggest problem is just getting the mana out fast enough, because it just generates so much. But yeah, I'll probably be doubling or maybe even tripling up the number of mana spreaders per level in here, especially now that I've got a bunch free. Yay for that. So, that is mana spreading upgraded. Pretty nice. And that means I will pretty much never have to worry about Koyosets running out of power, because Koyosets drains a lot of power when you're using it, especially when you're using it constantly. And that brings me to our next issue. I've got a couple of things here, the admin office and the Kagura stage. So the Kagura stage, I think, is going to be going over here. It is a raised platform with a roof on it. It's basically what you might think of Shakespeare in the Park. It's an external theater stage, essentially. But it is specifically used to perform the Kagura dance, which is very important when you're trying to maintain peaceful relations with nearby spirits, which we might need to in a while. It's where Miko go to perform the dance, the Kagura dance specifically, and it's a very nice affair, very, like, aesthetic, very pleasing, good, very fun thing to go and watch, like, if you've got a day off or something. So we need to build that, and I think that's going here. Whoop, if I can fly, there we go. So yeah, I think that's going over here, and the next thing after that I need is an admin office, because we're getting a lot of, like, paperwork now. There's a bunch of concerns coming in from the citizens that we kind of need to worry about it a little bit, which I'm also going to take as an opportunity to reconfigure the wiring here, because, yeah, stuff like that happens. Because what happens here is that if somebody sleeps before this timer has triggered, and this one is a lot longer than that one, then like, one triggers before the other, and it closes, it inverts the pattern, so that the doors are closed during the day, rather than being open during the day, and all sorts. So I need to build in some memory there for which pulse went out last. I need, like, an edge trigger or something. Actually, I'll probably build it as an RS latch, but either way, for that, I'm going to need a bigger structure. So, over here, I'm going to be putting an administration office, where we can have, probably, Amaya-san, be over here and just deal with the paperwork and such. And I'm going to have to put on my amulet of tainted blood here, so that means I can't fly anymore. So, let me just... Whoop. There we go. So, now I've got emptiness again. Ah. Suck on that, monsters. Suck on that. Okay, so... I'll hop into the time lapses in a moment, and you guys can all enjoy that. But I first thought I might show this off. So, the recipe for Ichor is a Nether Shard, an Ender Shard, a Eye of Ender, a Diamond. Let me just grab that, break it down, because we're going to be wanting to do this 9 times. I probably will only manage to do this once today, because we actually have fairly restricted, like, V production rates, basically. And we also need a Nether Star, of which I now have 9, so yay for me. Because apparently the Weaver is, like, remarkably easy when you've got fully enchanted Foundry and Fortress stuff and all sorts. Like, I imagine he's going to be even like, easier now with, like, with our upgraded gear. So that is the recipe for Ichor. And I am going to set this off, go into Nyan mode, and then we'll be hopping directly into our new time lapses. So, here goes nothing. Let me just check to make sure I've absolutely got all of the ingredients that I'm going to need here. So, let's see. Tinkering. And we want right down here. Oop, not you. There we are. So, yep, all that good. And we want 64 spirit. Oh, what a wonderfully scenic night to do this. So we've got 64 Spiritus, yep, I can see it there next to Vitium. We also want 32 Humanus and 32 Lux. And we have 54 Humanus and 64 Lux. So we should be good to perform this. So let's see how this turns out. Tally-ho. In she comes. Yeah, I can hear that the arcane lamps, the lamps aren't liking this. But, we should be alright. Alright, can't fly right now, because, Blood Moon. Phew. Oh, and there's our Hididama, up in the sky. Yay, just popping in to have a look, I see. Whew. He still doesn't have a name. We still don't have a name for the Hididama, believe it or not, that's weird. We really need to come up with something for that. Okay, we're into the Spiritus. We're nearly done. And yeah, it sounds like these things really don't like what we're doing here. But we're fine. Everything is fine. We'll work this out. It'll go. It'll be good. And this is kind of really scenic at night. Or during a blood moon anyways. A lot of things are scenic during a blood moon, but this is pretty nice. Let me just, screenshot. Okay. And we're on to the items. Diamond. Ender Shard. An Eye of Ender. Nether Shard. And there we have it. Ichor. So that is 8 Ichor. Blood of the Gods. And I get my answers.